Oh my goodness. God, I love this coffee. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. All right. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Well, looks like we're live. Hmm. Oh God, I love this coffee. God, the coffee in Japan is so awesome. Okay. All right. Let's get this show on the road. Put this bad boy here, and this guy goes here. Coasters for everything. Safety first. All right, here we go. All right. YouTube live streaming. Okay, cool. All right. Bam, 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 2, 3, 4. What's up, faders? Welcome to yet another action-packed episode of Got Faded Japan, and I am your host, Johnny. And as you fine folks know, Got Faded Japan is about, well, 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes, booze, Japan in the news, I guess. I don't know. I got to come up with a new tagline for the show. It's past overdue, but don't worry, the check is in the mail. Um, Faders, this is a very special episode of Got Faded Japan. First off, this is episode number 766. Yes, I do have notes. And yes, this podcast is on, streaming all over the place, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your local podcast, we are there. Also, we are especially on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. YouTube is great. We love YouTube. I spend so much time watching weird, bizarre stuff on YouTube. So, yeah, support YouTube and support Got Faded Japan. Oh, and if you want to support Got Faded Japan financially, we are on Patreon. And thank you so much to all you Patreon guys that have been supporting the show for so long. You guys are super cool. And yeah, that really means a lot. Okay, so Faders, for this episode, I've got good news and I've got bad news, and then I've got the news, the local bizarre crazy news that I read every week. But yes, I'm going to start off with the bad news because everybody loves bad news first. It's like taking off a band-aid. You just pull off really quickly, right? So the bad news is this. Okay, let me just grab a little bit of my awesome coffee. Um, Faders, as of recently, a true Fader friend of the show and long time, just almost pretty much a brother of mine, Pee Wee. His real name is Lee Sullivan. He's been on the show several times, and he is the owner of one of our sponsors, Gamuso, which is a nightclub, bar, live house, clubhouse hangout in Tokyo. He's been diagnosed with a very serious and rare form of cancer. And it's pretty bad. It's right behind his left eye. And yeah, he's getting it taken care of right now as we speak, actually. He's got getting radiation and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty serious. And unfortunately, he's probably going to lose his left eye. It's really, really horrible news. And first off, my heart goes out to him and his family, of course. I mean, he knows that I contact him like every single day. And another thing is, Faders, if you want to support Pee Wee, go in the show notes. There's going to be a link to a fundraiser that me and my good friend Tom Donnelly, we're together, we've united, and we're organizing a charity fundraiser for him to help him and his family through this absolutely horrible time. Yeah. All the money that we make from the fundraiser is going to go directly to his medical bills. So beers. Nothing is going towards beer, I swear to God. It's all 110% going towards his medical bills. God damn, I need a drink, I guess. But yeah, so I definitely check that out. If you are in the Tokyo area or if you are in Japan, the fundraiser will be on February 1st at 7th floor in Shibuya. We have 7 bands that are going to perform. We have we got art and all sorts of stuff that's going to be auctioned. We have like dancers that are going to be there. There's going to be a lot of entertainment. I'm trying to get a magician to do some magic tricks and stuff like that. It's a family-friendly charity fundraiser. So yes, if you are available, please come down, support. Tickets to enter are only 4,000 yen. It's just a little bit of money, but it'll mean the world to Pee Wee. So definitely, please come down. Hopefully I'll be there. I might not be there actually. because Pee Wee needs somebody to work at Gamuso, and currently he's trying to find people to work there. So if he can't find people to work there, I will be working at Pee Wee's establishment so he can have a fundraiser that me and my friend Tom are organizing. So yeah, I'll take one for the team, and I'll work at the bar. So but yeah, I'll do anything and everything I can to support Pee Wee and his family. And yeah, if you guys could just help on a little bit, yeah, there's I think there's a what does he have? A crowdfunder? No, he's got a PayPal link, which will be on the event page and stuff. If you want to give him a couple of bucks or something like that, that would be super helpful and stuff. And yeah, none of the money is going towards beer or alcohol. 110% bills. Okay, so yeah, all right, so that's the bad news, the sad bad news and stuff. But we all think he's going to be fine. Yeah, he's got high hopes, and the guy. And I'll be honest, man, Pee Wee is one of the most indestructible people I know. He's super tough, super strong. I mean, the guy, he just glows with positive energy. I mean, this guy is like Superman times a million. This guy's incredible, and he's so cool, such a nice guy. Like everybody says they know a guy that will give you like the shirt off their back. Pee Wee is that guy. Pee Wee's the guy that will give you his shirt off his back. So yeah, he's just one of those genuinely super awesome, cool people that's, in the world. And so let's do what we can to keep him here. All right. So moving forward to good news. Oh gosh, after that, what was the good news? Oh yeah, so good news. Yes, it is officially 2025, and yes, it's Bonenkai season, faders. Bonenkai season. Now, a little 411 on Bonenkai. No, Shinenkai season is Shinenkai season. I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. God, maybe I need a drink. Okay. All right, let's start the show right. Let's start the show right. All right, I'm gonna have a drink. I've had complaints from some of you guys and my friends that watch the show. Yeah, you're like, why don't you drink, Johnny? You're not drinking anymore. What's with this coffee stuff? Well, I'm drinking coffee because it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Drinking alcohol at 2 o'clock in the afternoon is not acceptable unless you're hanging out with your friends or you're at a barbecue or a picnic or something like that. Then again, I guess I am hanging out with a bunch of my friends. I'm hanging out with you guys, so I will have a drink with you. Just so you know, I'm drinking right now. I'm drinking Daime. Daime is a beautiful shochu. This shochu is absolutely fantastic, and it's a emo shochu. Emo shochu is basically a shochu which is made with sweet potatoes from the Kyushu area of Japan. And I'm not going to drink this whole bottle. I would do that with you guys, but not today. Not today. I'm just going to have a shot. So here's a shot which I'm going to sip. Oh my goodness, this stuff smells absolutely fantastic. Oh my gosh, Daime is so great. It's like one of my favorite shochus by far. It's so refreshing. Mm. Hi Kampai feeders. Hi Kampai. This goes on to all of you guys there hanging out and fading with me. Mm. Oh, now I can do Cafe to Japan. Woo! Johnny's back. Coffee. Yeah, I don't need that shit. All right. So faders. Okay. It's 2025 and it's Shinenkai season. Now, many of you probably don't know what Shinenkai is. Shinenkai means New Year party. And a New Year party is in January when friends, family members, colleagues, old acquaintances get together and they celebrate the beginning of the new year. It's basically something that happens every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday here in Japan. And I went to a Shinenkai last night and I drank a lot of this shochu, and it was absolutely fantastic. So, and tonight I'm going to go to another Shinenkai with some art friends, and then tomorrow I'm going to go to kind of a Shinenkai. It's like a Shinenkai slash David Bowie's birthday celebration. So, because yeah, every year in Tokyo, the Berlin guys, Mark, they get together and stuff. And they have like a birthday party for David Bowie. And it's also a Shinenkai because a bunch of us, we get together and we drink and we have a lot of laughs and stuff. And I'll be live painting there too. So yeah. So pretty much it's just drinking every night. And that's kind of a cool thing about Japan because before the New Year's in December, family, friends, acquaintances, colleagues, they all get together for Boning Kais. And Boning Kais are end of the year parties where people get together and they just celebrate the ending of the year. And so Shininkai is kind of like part two that you do with your other friends and stuff. So yeah, pretty much it's like 2 months of nonstop drinking and partying and stuff. God bless Japan. I love Japan. It's great here. Oh my goodness. So right now I'm having a Shininkai with you, Faders. Hi, Kampai, Faders. Kampai. Mm. Oh my goodness. So yes, the bad news, the good news, and some interesting news. Now, some of my friends talked to me about the podcast that I did about the events and how I taught you guys how to organize events and stuff. And yeah, that was actually really successful, and a lot of you guys liked it. And I'm really happy that you guys liked it. So I'm gonna have like kind of like a kind of not a series, but a thing that I'm gonna do now and then, not every episode, but it's called Johnny's Recommendations, and it's Johnny's recommendations of things to do or how to operate here in Japan and stuff. And when I say operate, how to do a business or something, maybe I'll talk about like Japanese taxes and maybe how to start a business in Japan. I'll get some of my friends who are entrepreneurs on the show or something like that, and they can tell you of all the secrets and what to do and what not to do when you start a business here in Japan. But today I'm going to tell you guys about something that's absolutely fantastic. Here in Japan, there's so many things to do, especially in major cities like Tokyo and Osaka. There's nightclubs, there's bars, there's arcades, there's always a celebration or a festival happening. I mean, if you want something to do, there's a million things to do on every single day, especially on the weekends. And a lot of people they when they come here or if they've been here for a while, they do a lot of things regarding sushi and food and booze and like anime and manga and stuff like that. And that's totally cool. That's totally cool, to each their own. I've done a lot of that stuff myself. But I want to introduce you guys to something that maybe you don't normally think about, or something that you normally wouldn't even do, you know? And for me, when I first came to Japan many years ago, I would never think about going to a place like this or doing this kind of a thing until about 2 years ago when I just happened to stumble upon it and it blew my socks off. Now, what I'm going to introduce you guys to is, well, antique shows. Now, I know what you're thinking. Antique shows, that's what old people do. You know, old people get together and they look at antiques and stuff and they buy them, they sell them or whatever. And that's true. That's true. And but in Japan, antiques are a little bit more different because antiques here are actually pretty amazing. Now, my story, how I got involved in antiques and antique shows is like this. About 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, my wife and I both had the same day off. We had a Friday off and we had nothing to do. So I was searching online about things to do on that day, and there was absolutely nothing to do except for like this massive antique show that was in Shinagawa. No, yeah, it was in Shinagawa, the Shinagawa area. And I was looking at it, and it's like this huge antique show, and they had I was like looking at the pictures, and they had all these samurai swords and like ninja outfits and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this could be kind of cool. And I asked my wife, I was like, hey, maybe we should go out here. And my wife's like, yeah, maybe that would be cool, but there's supposed to be a typhoon today, and it's already started raining. And I looked outside, and it was a really dark gray day. It was one of those days when you look outside and it's noon and it looks like it's like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And you're like, oh my God, this is going to be one heck of a typhoon. And I told my wife, I was like, listen, if we go to this antique show right now, like if we just leave right now, you know what? There's probably going to be no people there, no lines, no tourists. It'll be kind of fun, you know? And I convinced her to come on. I was like, all right, if we go out there, I'll have a wonderful dinner with you. We can have sushi, anything you want and stuff. It's on me. So basically, she said yes, she had to. Wives love good dinners at great restaurants, even if it's in the middle of a typhoon. So we went to this antique shop, and I was correct. There was absolutely no people there. And this antique show was a 3-day antique show, and the typhoon was supposed to be on Friday and Saturday, which meant like these people that came to this antique show to sell their antiques had only one good day to sell their stuff, right? And they showed up with just like everything. I mean, they had the whole 9 yards full of stuff, and there's like booth after booth after booth, and some of these booths were huge, they're about the size of my apartment, right? And this like auditorium place in Shinagawa is like this in this huge massive building, and there must have been at least like maybe 400 booths, right? And there was almost no people there. There was like nobody there. Like we walked in and we're like, "Are you guys open?" And they're like, "Yeah, we've been open since 11." And I was like, "Fantastic." And we walked around and we started looking at everything. And since there's nobody there, we spend as much time as we wanted looking at every single booth. And I was absolutely blown away by all the beautiful, amazing things that I saw at that antique show. Japanese antiques are something else. They are so beautiful, so special. I saw some of the most incredible kimonos and yukatas and just like samurai armor. Like, I mean, pretty much like half this stuff belongs in a museum somewhere. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. God, the ancient sandals, like sandals that are like 200 years old, manga comic books that are like 300 years old. I mean, they had all sorts of amazing things. I mean, Peters, even if you don't intend to buy anything, if you don't even want to buy anything, maybe you're on vacation and you're a digital nomad and you're only like traveling the world with a backpack, still go to an antique show for the experience. You'll see so many incredible things, like old antique Japanese tables. I kind of have like these, they're not secret compartments, but they kind of look like secret compartments in there. I mean, pretty much they're secret compartments. If you don't know what they are, it's a secret compartment. But yeah, they had so many cool things, like the old traditional Japanese tobacco pipes. It's like these long, thin tobacco pipes with like a little small bowl. Like it was crazy. I mean, they were so interesting, and the design and the work that was put into like every single antique was absolutely spectacular. I mean, gosh, the samurai swords were absolutely mind-blowing. The design and the craftsmanship that was on every single sword, it was spectacular. I mean, they had just had so much of everything it was just so cool. And I mean, they even had some stuff that was like kind of like not really antique. Well, I think it would be vintage. Vintage is something that's 50 years, under 50 years old or something. Over 50 years old, and antique is over 100 years old. If I might be wrong on that, please don't quote me. But there's this one place where they had all these old books and old magazines, and I shit you not, there was a magazine that because I was looking through them, there's one magazine that had a picture of Adolf Hitler, and this was like a Japanese magazine, and I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, there's Adolf Hitler in this magazine, right? And this magazine is obviously from like the 1930s or whatever. And I asked my wife, I'm like, what does this say? And she goes, Hitler, it says Hitler's our friend. And I was like, oh my God, dude. Oh, dude, this is so crazy. And I was going to take a photo of it, but I was like, I can't have a picture of Hitler on my phone. Not at all. So I was just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But you can find anything and everything at an antique show here in Japan, and all of it's special. All of it's really, really special and stuff. And I actually did pick up a couple of things that I thought were really cool at this antique shop at this antique show, and I'm going to show them to you right now. So for all you guys on YouTube, here you go. Now, the first thing that I picked up was this. This piece of metal right here just looks like an average piece of metal. Well, not average piece of metal, but it looks like a little religious symbol design kind of thing, right? And this here is called a tsuba. Tsuba. And a tsuba is a handguard for a samurai sword, a katana. And there's this one guy that had all these tsubas. Like he just had like shelf after shelf and row after row of all these tsubas. And when I saw this design, it just spoke out to me. I don't know what it was, but it's just the way it looked. I was like, this is just so cool. I'm like, how much is this? And he's like, God, he said like it was like $250, Niman gosen yen. And I was like, oh man, I don't think I can spend that much on that. I think all I have, what I can really realistically do is like ichiman yen. And the guy's like, okay, ichiman yen. And I was like, really? Are you serious? Do you want my jacket? He's like, no. Here, you can have it for ichiman yen. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. You can haggle here. I didn't know you can haggle at an antique show in Japan, but apparently you can. And so I got this for ichiman yen. And he said it was like 150 years old. And I think this is absolutely fantastic. Kind of looks like a TIE fighter, kind of, right? Like a Star Wars TIE fighter. It's pretty cool. I love this thing. I think this is so cool. So this is like one of my treasures. For most people, if they see it, it just looks like a piece of metal. But for me, yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, if this was like in a, some kind of like a war, or if like maybe a shogun used this or something, and I think this is so cool. Now, I know a lot of you right now are thinking, Johnny, why don't you have like the whole sword? Isn't the whole sword cooler than a tsuba, a handguard? And yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, the sword, yes, having a sword would be super awesome, but what am I going to do with a sword? You know, what am I going to do? Cut carrots? You know, I mean, have it as a decoration. That's the only thing I'm going to use it for, you know, and it'll just be on my wall forever. I mean, that would be cool, but this is all I really wanted was a tsuba. And another thing about samurai swords is, yeah, they're not illegal, but they're hard to get. You have to have a special license to have a sword here in Japan. And yeah, there's actually a law. It's called the Japan's Gun and Sword Law or something like that. Don't quote me on it. But anyway, I got a Tsuba and I was super duper happy about that. It was super awesome. Now, another thing that I got was a couple of comics that are like 150 years old too. And there's a guy that had like all these kind of like it was like these boxes that were just full of all these old comics, right? And I mean, the guy just had them in boxes. I mean, they weren't organized, they weren't like laid out nicely or anything. This guy just had all these comics and all these books, right? And I'm looking through them, and I wanted them all. I was there for like maybe like half an hour. I had the only reason why I had to leave is because my wife was like, "Come on, kimonos, come on, let's check out the kimonos." And I was like, all right." But I was looking through these comics, and they were just so incredible. And so I talked to the guy and I was like, listen, this is all the money I have. It was under Ishmael. He's like, listen, if you really want them, here, you can have them for like, I think I got two for, actually, I think I got two for each my niece and I think my wife gave me some money or something. But yeah, I got two antique comics. And I'm going to show you guys these, and they're absolutely spectacular. Here's the first one right here for all you YouTube guys, and it's a beautiful woman. And well, on the cover, it's a beautiful woman in a kimono, and this is the most striking kimono I've ever seen. I mean, look at this kimono. It's like five different designs of dragons. It's so cool, and this comic is so delicate. I mean, I don't ever touch this. This is like the first time I've touched it since I bought it, right? And the paper itself is so delicate and so fragile. It feels like tissue paper, absolute tissue paper. And when I first bought it, I talked to the guy. I was like, "What is this story about?" He's like, "I don't know. I can't read it." I'm like, "Why can't you read it?" He's like, "This kanji, nobody uses this kanji anymore. This is like obsolete kanji." And so I'm like, "Oh my God." And I had my wife look at it. I'm like, "Hey, can you read this?" Because my wife used to do calligraphy. And she's like, "No, nobody can read this." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness." So this kanji right here, if you look closely, I mean, this is like stuff that you can't read. I'm sure people somewhere can read it. I mean, let's be honest. But at the time, they couldn't read it. And the imagery of this comic is just absolutely breathtaking. These samurais, these geisha, these demons. I mean, it is hardcore. And I really love how they have everything written, kind of infused in the pictures. You know, so if you look here, it's just like, I mean, it is absolutely incredible. Look at this. This is amazing. And look at the detail in these comics. Isn't that cool? And I'm sorry for all you guys that are listening, you know, because I mean, if you're listening, I mean, this is like, I mean, you're kind of getting what I'm talking about, but it's just like, I mean, it's apples and oranges. And I'm trying to show you guys these pages without forcing them to be open because I mean, these pages are like tissues. Okay, here's a geisha. She's getting her feet washed right here. I'm gonna put this closer to the camera so you guys can really get a good view of it. Isn't that incredible? I mean, just the artwork alone is just spectacular. One of these days, I'm going to have to take photos of all these images. But yeah, here's the second one, and the second one is in a kind of bad shape. But here you go. I mean, look at the colors on this cover. And another thing about these comics is that, like, you know, they didn't have staples back then, so they actually used cloth and they used string to keep the pages in place. Isn't that cool? So that's how they bound these comics. Let me just I'll find like one image in here. Okay, looks like somebody's getting their head cut off or something, or there's a fight. Here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna move this up to the camera. There we go. Boom. Isn't that dope? That is awesome. I love this. I'm definitely gonna have to get this photographed professionally, and I'll put that online for you guys. But yeah, I highly recommend that you guys go there. And if you can go there during a typhoon, definitely do it because every single person that works at one of these booths, they will give you as much attention as you want. You know, they'll talk about like the swords, they'll talk about the kimonos, the fabric, they'll tell you a little history about the stuff that they're trying to sell and stuff. They'll tell you how they got it. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. And how people do get a lot of these antiques. And why I think I got these for so cheap is because in Japan, the age groups of the age group of the population here is kind of interesting. There are more older people in Japan than younger people, right? And so these older people are getting older, and a lot of them are passing away. And when they pass away, their children, if they have children, don't really want to deal with mom and dad's stuff, so they just sell it off. They sell it off, they auction it off, or they just throw it away, or they just leave the house empty. There's like many abandoned houses scattered all over the country, right? And some people buy these houses and they find all these antiques and stuff, and they sell them for really cheap, or they gather them and then they take them to antique shows. So you can get incredible, I mean, absolutely insanely awesome Japanese antiques at antique shows for really affordable prices. And obviously you can haggle a little bit if you want to. And it is such an experience to get off the beaten path of Japan, when you come here and to go to an antique show. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, a lot of people when they come here, they'll go to Shibuya and they'll have sushi. They'll go to Ginza and they'll go to Uniqlo and do some shopping. And they'll go to an arcade and play some video games and buy some manga and some t-shirts. Please buy one of my t-shirts. And they'll do like all the stereotypical stuff, right? But they don't do some of the really crazy cool stuff, such as going to an antique show. So I highly recommend that you go to an antique show. And I'm going to give you some names of some of the antique shows that are really big here in Tokyo. And these are really massive antique shows, which means there's going to be a lot of people there. So I highly recommend that you go there at the very beginning or at the very end. Now, if you go at the very beginning, there's going to be less people at first. But if you go at the very end of the trade show, like at the trade show and not trade show, the the antique show. The antique show finishes at like 8 o'clock. Maybe if you start like walking around maybe 6 or so, and you give yourself 2 hours, you can probably haggle and get some discounts or something if you're interested in shopping. But anyway, here we go. The first one is the Oedo Antique Market. The Oedo Antique Market, and this is just a few stops away from Shinjuku. And after that, we have the Antique Grande, which is at Tokyo Big Sight. Tokyo Big Sight is a huge auditorium and event space. It's massive, and there's going to be a lot of booths, a lot of things you can check out. And the next one is the Ariake Antique World. And Ariake Antique World looks pretty amazing. It's supposed to be one of the biggest in the country. Yes, and that's pretty cool. And also another thing to check out, which is kind of fun, and I don't really check these out too often, but sometimes I do, are flea markets. And you can actually just go online and just Google flea markets in Japan, and there's always flea markets happening on Saturday and Sunday somewhere in Tokyo. So yeah, definitely do that. So yep, Johnny's advice, antique shows, and well, now flea markets. Yes. So get off the beaten path and enjoy Japan. Hi, Kampai. Oh, I switched to coffee. Oh no, I went to shochu coffee. I just grabbed whatever was closer. Oh my gosh. All right, so I'm gonna finish this shochu off. Hi, Kampai here. Oh my goodness. Woo. Okay. So this wouldn't be Got Faded Japan if I didn't read the news. So faders, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to read this week's news. So here we go. Without further ado, let's move forward. Okay. Let me just get this a little closer. I'm reading from my computer. Reading from my computer. Here we go. First story. 87-year-old woman jumps from second-story floor of home after being tied up by intruder. Whoa, 87-year-old woman jumps from second floor of home. Oh my gosh. Okay, the story takes place in Chiba. An 87-year-old woman jumped from his second floor of her home after she was tied up by an intruder who was looking for money in Kamogawa, Chiba Prefecture. According to police, the woman told them that she was awakened just after midnight by a man who broke into her house and demanded money. Oh my God, could you imagine waking up to that? I don't like waking up at all. I mean, when I wake up to my alarm clock, I'm like, no, but waking up to an intruder asking for money, that's the worst. He threatened her, then tied her hands and legs with rope and began searching the house. The woman managed to free herself and jump from the second floor and went to her neighbor's house and called 110, aka 911. By the time police arrived, the intruder had fled. The woman injured her leg during the escape and was treated at a hospital. Okay, yeah, there's CCTV everywhere. They're gonna catch this guy. I hope they catch this guy. But man, that woman, oh my gosh, 87. Was it 87? It was 87, right? 87 years old. Now, I gotta say, Grandma, those are some ninja moves. Oh my God. I bet she did a backflip. She's like, oh, I bet, no, this is what happened. She was tied up and she saw the guy going through her stuff and she's like, and she broke her hands off and she's like, yeah. And then she looked to her wall and she had a samurai sword, a chainsaw, she had a dagger, a baseball bat, just like in Pulp Fiction. But she's like, you know what? I'm just going to call the cops. Easy pleasy. And she did a backflip out the side of her window and jumped onto the ground, hurting her leg, and then called the cops. I really wish they caught the fucker, though, that broke into her place. That's terrifying, to be honest. Oh my gosh. All right. So that's the first story. All right. Next story. Man arrested for kicking police car outside Koban in Mie Prefecture. Koban is a police box, aka small police station. Police in Tsu Mie Prefecture arrested a 42-year-old man after he kicked a police car, damaging its door at the Koban, aka police box. The incident occurred at around 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, TBS reported. Police said Kazunori Mashima, a dentist, was drunk at the time. Okay, so all right, let's stop right there. Now, 7:30 p.m. being drunk and being a dentist who's drunk. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. But as I said at the beginning of this episode, we have Shininkais and Bonenkais. So this guy was probably out with his dentist buddies and stuff. I don't know, maybe messing around with nitrous or whatever. Who knows what these guys do? But he's out of his mind, wasted. He sees a police car. And what's a police car look like? A police car is black and white. So he probably got it confused. He's a dentist. He sees the way he thinks teeth. He sees the black. He thinks plaque. So he goes up there and he kicks the plaque. He's like, get out of your plaque. Fuck you. And yeah, then the cops are like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm cleaning teeth. And then they arrested him. Poor guy. Let's see here. Police quoted Mashima as saying, quote, I don't know why I was arrested, but I don't remember kicking anything. Okay, there you go. Oh, man. Leave those cars alone. Next story. Man arrested after hitting male acquaintance with bottle at bar in Nagasaki. Police in Nagasaki have arrested a 41-year-old man on suspicion of assault after he hit a 33-year-old acquaintance on the head with a bottle at a bar. Ugh, that's not good. According to police, the incident occurred at around 1:50 a.m. Saturday, TBS reported. Police said the suspect, who runs a human resources dispatch business, oh my God, you think he's going to have to fire himself? You're fired. I'm sorry. You're fired. Okay. Hit his drinking companion with a bottle that was on the bar and injured his head. Police were called to the bar, and the injured man was taken to the hospital, but his life is not in danger, police said. Police said the suspect has admitted to hitting his drinking companion, but was innocent and incoherent about the motive. I hit that son of a bitch because he snuggled. Boning Kai. Oh, oh my gosh. Yeah, so be careful while drinking with your friends, and don't drink with dentists, especially if you're wearing black and white, which I often do wear. Okay, moving forward. Story number, is this 3 or 4? I don't know. Who cares? Man arrested for writing graffiti inside toilet at Imperial Palace during the New Year greeting event. Oh my God. All right. Oh, don't do any graffiti. No graffiti, no tags, no throw ups, nothing at shrines, at palaces, or anything religious related anywhere in the world. Don't do it. Do not do it. A, your karma is and B, yeah, people don't like that. People don't like that. Not at all. Not at all. Police have arrested a 46-year-old man for writing graffiti inside a toilet on the grounds of the Imperial Palace prior to the New Year greeting event by the Emperor and his family. Why a toilet? Damn, wait, wasn't it last episode I read a story about a guy whose graffiti name was Toilet? Maybe it's the same guy. Maybe it's the same guy. Uh, Kobayashi Daisuke, a landscape gardener from Zama City, Kanagawa Prefecture, was arrested on suspicion of property damage after being caught writing graffiti at around 10:30 a.m. on Thursday. Oh my goodness, he's a gardener. Gardener with spray paint. At the time, members of the public were lining up to enter the Imperial Palace for the first appearance of the Imperial family. The toilet is near the Hasuike Assembly Hall, which is on the route visitors take to get to the venue. Okay, all right. That's all right. Well, geez. I mean, I guess everybody, graffitis a little bit on a toilet when you pee off the corners, but all right, stupid joke. Dun, dun, shh. Moving forward, moving forward. Okay. Man arrested for threatening teenage daughter with knife. Oh my God. Girls just wanna have fun. Oh, girls. Okay, Hokkaido. Police and Muranoran, Hokkaido, have arrested a 49-year-old man in suspicion of threatening to kill his teenage daughter with a knife at their home on Tuesday night. Okay, who hasn't threatened to kill their kids? All right? Who hasn't threatened that? You do your homework or I'm gonna fucking kill you. Clean your room or I'm gonna kill you. If those dishes are not washed in 15 minutes, I'm gonna kill this whole family. Yeah, yeah. I mean, parents do that. They say that all the time and stuff. I think this guy kind of crossed the line by pulling out like a Rambo knife. I wonder if he had it in his teeth. He put it in his teeth. It's like, I'm gonna kill you. Do your homework. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would definitely do my homework if my dad had a knife in his mouth. Um, the man is suspected of pointing a knife at his daughter and threatening her at around 7 p.m. on Tuesday, NTV reported. The daughter was not hurt, but called the police herself after the incident. My dad is trying to kill me. Police said the girl told them that after a heated argument, the father grabbed a knife from the kitchen and pointed it at her, yelling, quote, "We have no choice but to die together," end quote. Okay, all right, yeah. At first, I was on the dad side at the beginning of this article, but after reading that, I am totally, hands down, on the girl's side. I mean, that poor daughter, we're gonna die together. Nobody wants to die with their dad. Oh my gosh, like this anyway. Oh God. The man was said to have been drinking at the time of the incident. Oh my goodness. I hope he wasn't drinking shochu. God. Man, so when did this article take place? Was this before Christmas or at January 2nd? Oh my goodness. Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, that's well at least it's after Christmas. She got her presents. I wonder if the I wonder if the knife that he had that he threatened her with was a Christmas present to him. Like maybe he loves Rambo, and Sylvester Stallone's been in the news recently quite a bit. So maybe she got him a Rambo knife, and he's like, thank you for this Rambo knife. I'm definitely going to use it this year. Oh my gosh, what a gas. All right, faders. Well, that's the news I have for today. I want to say thank you all for watching this episode on YouTube. Wow, the sun went down. Holy smokes. Yeah, my room's all dark. I just noticed that. Wow, the lighting is kind of cool, isn't it? So, Faders, thank you so much for watching this very special episode of Got Faded Japan. And thank you, everybody, once again for supporting us on Patreon. That really means a lot to us. And if you guys made it this far in the show, if you can visit Pee-wee, if you're in Japan and stuff, definitely go to Lee Pee-wee's his charity fundraiser on February 1st. Once again, that's going to be at 7th floor in Shibuya. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's for a great, great cause. And every single yen is going to support him and his family and his medical bills, not beer. I misspoke earlier. So definitely do that. And thank you, faders. Thank you so much. And if you're going to a Shininkai, hi kampai. Thank you, faders, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Woo. Hmm. For all you guys streaming, that was a hard show. I gotta stop doing these shows when I'm hungover. My God. Woo! Oh my gosh. But oh, it's so refreshing to drink during the show. Gosh, I do these shows so early in the morning now that I'm doing them by myself. You can't drink at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's really bad. It's a bad look too. Like, hey, good morning, faders. I'm wasted. No, you can be drunk in the morning if you drank all night. If you're hanging out with your friends, if you're at a Christmas party, a Bonenkai, whatever, if you're just at a nightclub and you're drinking all night, and then in the morning you have a couple of beers before you go to bed or something like that, or yeah, I guess go to bed. Yeah, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I mean, that's what a lot of construction workers do. That's what Tom said. After work, I mean, you work all night from like 6 o'clock at night till like what 8 o'clock in the morning or something. A lot of them they go to a family restaurant or they go to a convenience store. They get some beers. They enjoy some beers together and stuff. Totally cool. Totally cool. They're on a different level, so that's fine. So drinking during the day is great as long as you do it responsibly. And another thing about drinking during the day, if you're drinking during the day, like if you start drinking at 2 o'clock, you got to have a cutoff time. You got to tell yourself, you got to be like, listen, if I'm drinking at 2 o'clock right now, I can't have any beers after 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Because if you're drinking at 2 and you go to 6 p.m., I mean, geez, that's like 5 hours of drinking or four. Wait, yes, I'm terrible with math. 4 hours of drinking, right? And then let's say 6 o'clock is on Saturday. Your friend calls you up. He's like, "Hey, we're at Izakaya. Come on down and have some drinks with us." And you go there. You're already 20 beers ahead of them, and then they're having their first beers, and you're having like your 22nd, 23rd beer or something like that. And then afterwards, they want to go to karaoke or go to a nightclub or something like that. Dude, you're going to be out of your mind. You're going to wind up on Got Faded Japan or something. So if you do drink during the day, if you do day fade, just make sure that you have a cutoff time. If you have a cutoff time, you're good. If you don't have a cutoff time, you might get because the thing is, though, man, nobody, and I mean nobody, well, okay, Andre the Giant is the exception. That guy was, oh, a fader straight from the beginning. But very few people can drink all day and then drink all night. Okay. It's very, very difficult, literally impossible. I can't even handle it. I can't even handle it. I'm having this drink, switching back to coffee, and then I'm gonna work on some stuff. But the thing is, yeah, make sure you have a cutoff time. Mm, the more you know. Ta-da-da-da. All right, faders, thank you so much. It's so great to fade with you.